3 weeks later, Zara stood in the council chamber on Kalari Prime, the home world of her people. The room was vast and white, with perfect geometry and soft blue lights. 200 council members sat in precise rows, all wearing the same calm expression that Kalari learned as children. At the center of the room was a single chair. Her chair. Zara had never been so nervous in her life. "Observer Zara," the council leader said. Her voice echoed in the quiet chamber. "You will now present your report on the human species." Zara stood and walked to the center of the room. In her hands was a datapad containing her observations. But she also carried something else, something that no Kalari had ever brought to a council meeting before. Doubt. "Honored council," she began, "I have spent 4 weeks studying the human species. What I have learned will challenge everything we believe about intelligence and civilization." A soft murmur went through the chamber. Council members rarely showed any emotion, but Zara's words were unusual enough to cause surprise. "Continue," the council leader said. Zara activated her datapad. The first display showed the Iron Horse floating in space. "This is a human mining vessel. By our standards, it is primitive, inefficient design, wasteful use of materials, crude technology." Heads nodded around the chamber. This was what everyone expected to hear. "However," Zara continued, "this ship and its crew accomplished something that our most advanced vessels could not. They saved 50,000 Kalari lives." The murmuring grew louder. "Explain," the council leader said. Zara told them the story. She described the solar flare, the meeting with Jake Morrison, the rescue of the heart of Kalari. She showed them the mathematical calculations that proved the rescue should have been impossible. "You are saying," one council member interrupted, "that primitive humans succeeded where our advanced technology would have failed?" "I am saying more than that," Zara replied. "I am saying that what we call primitive might actually be more advanced than we are." The chamber erupted in voices. Council members talking over each other, demanding explanations. A council leader called for quiet. "This is a serious accusation. Observer Zara, you are suggesting that our entire understanding of technological advancement is incorrect." "Yes," Zara said simply. She activated another display. This one showed brain scans of humans and Kalari. "Look at the difference," she said. "Kalari brains are highly organized. Every thought follows logical pathways. We are very good at analyzing data and finding optimal solutions." She pointed to the human brain scan. "Human brains are chaotic. Thoughts jump randomly between different areas. By our standards, this should make them less intelligent." "But," the council leader asked, "but chaos allows for something we have. Lost creativity, the ability to see solutions that logic says do not exist." Zara showed them recordings of Morrison fixing the coffee machine, planning the impossible rescue, working with technology he had never seen before. "Humans do not just solve problems," she said. "They solve problems that we would never even attempt, because our logic tells us they cannot be solved." "This is interesting," another council member said, "but it does not change the fact that humans are technologically primitive." "Are they?" Zara asked. She showed them footage of the rescue operation. Morrison jumping between spaceships. The crew working together without detailed plans or complex protocols. "Watch how they adapt," she said. "Every time something goes wrong, they find a new solution instantly. They do not need computers to calculate probabilities. They do not need meetings to decide what to do. They just know." "This is emotion, not intelligence," a council member said. "Is it?" Zara challenged. "When the colony ship was doomed, our response would have been to analyze the situation, run calculations, and conclude that rescue was impossible. We would have let 50,000 people die because logic said they could not be saved." The chamber was quiet now. But humans do not accept that anything is impossible. They looked at the same situation and asked a different question. Not can this be done, but how can this be done? Zara paused, looking around the chamber at faces that had never shown uncertainty before. Honored Council, I believe we have been wrong about what intelligence means. We have confused logical processing with wisdom. We have confused technological advancement with civilization. What are you proposing? The council leader asked. Zara took a deep breath. I propose that instead of uplifting humanity, we should learn from them. I propose that we have reached the end of our development, while they are just beginning. The chamber exploded in angry voices. Council members stood up, demanding that Zara explain herself. You suggest that we are inferior to primitives? One shouted. I suggest, Zara said loudly, that we are so advanced that we have forgotten how to grow. The council leader called for order. When the chamber was quiet again, she spoke. Observer Zara, these are dangerous ideas. If we accept your theory, it means everything we have built is based on a flawed understanding of intelligence. Yes, Zara said. That is exactly what it means. For a long moment, no one spoke. What do you recommend? The council leader asked finally. Zara had prepared for this question. I recommend immediate contact with humanity, not as superiors offering guidance, but as equals seeking to learn. I volunteer to return to Earth as the first official ambassador. To teach them our technology? No, Zara said. To learn their wisdom. The council leader was quiet for a long time. Around the chamber, 200 of the most logical minds in Kalari civilization struggled with concepts that challenged everything they had ever believed. This will require much discussion. The council leader said finally, the council will consider your recommendations. There is one more thing, Zara said. She activated a final recording. It showed Jake Morrison talking to her on the last day she spent aboard the Iron Horse. Why do you help people? Her voice asked. Morrison's face filled the display. His kind eyes looked directly at the camera. Because that is what people do, he said simply. We help each other. We take care of each other. We do not let each other face the dark alone. The recording ended. The chamber was silent. Honored Council, Zara said quietly. When was the last time anyone in this room felt that way about a stranger? No one answered. 6 months later, Zara stood in the bridge of a Kalari diplomatic vessel as it approached Earth. She was now Ambassador Zara, the first of her kind. Her mission was unprecedented in Kalari history. She was going to ask a primitive species to teach her people how to be human. Through the window, she could see Earth growing larger. The blue and white planet looked small and fragile, but Zara knew better now. This world had produced something that the vast Kalari Empire had lost somewhere in its pursuit of perfection. God, it had produced people who cared about strangers. Ambassador. Her communications officer said, we are receiving a transmission from Earth. Put it through, Zara said. Jake Morrison's voice filled the bridge. Ambassador Zara, this is Captain Morrison of the vessel Iron Horse. Welcome back. We have been waiting for you. Zara smiled, an expression she had learned from humans. Captain Morrison, she said, we have much to learn from each other. Yes, Morrison replied. We do. Come on down. We will put the coffee on. As the ship descended toward Earth, Zara thought about her report to the council. It had taken 6 months of debate, but they had finally accepted her recommendations. The Kalari Empire, for the first time in its history, was going to ask another species for help, not help with technology or science or military power, help remembering how to be people. And maybe, Zara thought as Earth filled the window, that was the most important lesson any species could learn. Outside, the stars watched. As two civilizations prepared to teach each other what it truly meant to be alive in the universe. 16 hours later, Zara sat in the Iron Horse's small shuttle, watching Jupiter grow larger through the window. The massive planet filled half the sky now, its red and orange clouds whirling in patterns that made her dizzy. Somewhere ahead of them, the heart of Calari was tumbling toward death. "There," Sam Wright said from the pilot's seat. "I can see it." Zara followed his pointing finger. At first, she saw nothing. Then, like a star that suddenly appeared, she spotted the colony ship. It was spinning slowly, catching Jupiter's light. On its silver hull. "How big is that thing?" Morrison asked. 3 kilometers long, Zara said. 800 meters wide. Morrison whistled softly. "And 50,000 people inside." "Jake," Lisa Park's voice came through the radio from the Iron Horse. "We have calculated the charge placements. You will need to place explosives at 12 different points inside the ship. The timing has to be perfect." "How perfect?" Morrison asked. "Plus or minus 3 seconds. Any more than that, and the explosions will either be too weak or too strong." Morrison and Zara looked at each other. 3 seconds. In a plan that required them to dock with a tumbling ship, run through corridors they had never seen before, place 12 explosive charges, and escape before the ship's rotation exposed them to Jupiter's radiation. "Piece of cake," Morrison said with a grin. Zara did not understand this expression, but she could hear the humor in his voice. Humans, she had learned, often made jokes when they were scared. It seemed to help them think clearly. "Beginning approach," Sam announced Dot through the window. The colony ship grew larger. Zara could see details now. Docking bays, windows, antenna arrays. And she could see something else that made her stomach hurt. The ship was not just spinning. It was also shaking, vibrating like it was coming apart. "Structural damage," she said quietly. "I see it," Morrison said. "Sam, can you match that movement?" "I can try," Sam said. His hands moved over the controls like he was playing a musical instrument. "But it is going to be rough." The shuttle moved closer to the colony ship. Now Zara could see just how fast the huge vessel was spinning. The docking bay she had picked was only visible for a few seconds every rotation. "There," she said, pointing. "Bay 7. It is the largest." "I see it," Sam said. "Jake, this is going to be tight. I mean really tight." "How tight?" Morrison asked. "I can probably get us docked, but I do not know if I can hold the shuttle steady long enough for you to get inside." Morrison thought about this. "How long do you need to hold steady?" 40 seconds minimum, maybe 50. "And how long can you actually hold steady?" Sam was quiet for a moment. "Maybe 20 seconds, if I'm lucky." Morrison nodded like this was normal, like attempting impossible rescues was something he did every day. "Then we do it in 20 seconds, he said. "Jake," Zara said, "it takes longer than 20 seconds just to get through the airlock. Not if we do not wait for full pressurization." Morrison said, "We go through fast, hold our breath, and hope the colony ship's atmosphere is still working." This was madness. Complete madness. But Zara found herself nodding. "Rotation coming up?" Sam called out. "Bay 7 will be visible in 10 seconds." Zara watched the colony ship spin. Slowly, the docking bay came into view. It was larger than the Iron Horse's entire shuttle, but it was moving so fast that it looked like a blur. "Now," Sam said. The shuttle shot forward like it had been fired from a gun. Sam's hands flew over the controls, matching the colony ship's speed and rotation. For a moment, the docking bay looked steady. "Go, go, go," Sam shouted. Morrison hit. The airlock release. The door opened with a hiss of escaping air. Beyond it, Zara could see the colony ship's docking bay rushing past. Morrison jumped. Zara had never seen a human move so fast. One moment he was beside her, the next he was flying through space toward the moving docking bay. He hit the bay's deck hard and rolled. Zara, now! Sam yelled. Zara jumped. For a terrifying moment, she was floating in space between the two ships. Then she landed in the docking bay next to Morrison. Sam, get out of here, Morrison called into his radio. We will call when we need pickup. The shuttle pulled away just as the colony ship's rotation carried the docking bay out of view. Zara and Morrison stood in the empty docking bay, breathing hard. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. The air was thin but breathable. Well, Morrison said, we made it inside. Now what? Zara pulled out her map of the ship. The structural support points are spread throughout the vessel. We need to reach all 12 locations. They started running. The heart of Kalari was a city in space. Long corridors connected different sections. Living areas, work areas, schools, parks. But now it was a ghost city. The evacuation alarms were blaring, and Zara could see that most people had already moved to the emergency shelters in the ships. Center, first location, Zara said, stopping at a junction. The main support beam is behind this wall. Morrison pulled explosive charges from his pack. They were small devices, each about the size of a human hand. He placed one against the wall and activated its timer. How long? Zara asked. 4 hours, Morrison said. All the charges will go off at the same time. They ran to the next location. And the next. Morrison worked quickly and calmly, like placing explosives on a doomed spaceship was normal for him. At the 7th location, they met other people. A group of Kalari families was huddled in a corridor. Adults and children, all looking scared. When they saw Zara and the human, they backed away. Do not be afraid, Zara called out in her own language. We are here to help. An elderly Kalari man stepped forward. Help? The ship is doomed. The emergency. Broadcast said no rescue is possible. This human has a plan, Zara said. The old man looked at Morrison with confusion. A human? But they are primitive. What can a human do that our own engineers cannot? Morrison could not understand the words, but he could understand the tone. He smiled and waved at the families. Several of the children waved back. We have to. Keep moving, Morrison said gently. They placed 5 more charges. With each location, Zara felt time running out. The ship was shaking more violently now. Through the windows, Jupiter looked huge and hungry. Last location, Zara said. They were in the ship's engine room. Massive machines filled the space, all of them dead and dark. Morrison placed the final charge on a support beam. Done, he said. Now we get out of here. But when they reached the docking bay, they found a problem. Sam, Morrison called into his radio. We are ready for pickup, Static answered him. Sam, do you copy? More static. The colony ship's metal hull is blocking our signal, Zara said. They needed to get outside, but the docking bay was now facing Jupiter. Going outside would expose them to deadly radiation. How long until the bay rotates away from Jupiter? Morrison asked. Zara checked her calculations. 38 minutes. How long until the charges go off? Morrison looked at his timer. 22 minutes. They stared at each other. The math was simple and terrible. The explosives would detonate while they were still inside the ship. We could disable the charges, Zara said. Then 50,000 people die, Morrison said. But if we do not disable them, we die. Morrison thought about this for a moment. Then he smiled. Maybe, but maybe not. What do you mean? The charges will push the ship into a new orbit. If we can get to the emergency shelter in the ship's center, we might survive the explosions. Might? Probably not, Morrison admitted. But it is our best chance. They ran toward the ship's center, racing against time. Around them, the heart of Kalari shook and groaned as Jupiter's gravity pulled it closer. In the emergency shelter, They found thousands of Kalari families. The old man from the corridor was there with his grandchildren. "You came back," he said. Surprised. "We all go together," Morrison said, even though the old man could not understand him. 5 minutes later, the charges detonated. The explosions rang through the ship like thunder. The floor tilted violently. People screamed. Emergency. Lights flickered. And then, slowly, everything became quiet. "Did it work?" someone asked in Kalari. Zara looked at the navigation display on the shelter's wall. The ship's course was changing. Slowly, but definitely. They were no longer falling toward Jupiter. "It worked," she whispered. The old Kalari man looked at Morrison with wonder. "The human saved us?" "Yes," Zara said. "The human saved us." Around them, 50,000 people began to understand that they were going to live, and that their lives had been saved by a species they had never even heard of before. Zara looked at Morrison, who was sitting quietly in a corner, just happy. That everyone was safe. In that moment, she realized that everything the Kalari thought they knew about intelligence, about civilization, about what it meant to be advanced, was completely wrong. 2 days later, Zara was still aboard the Iron Horse. The Stellar Dawn's navigation system worked, but other repairs would take time. Captain Vex had decided it was safer to stay near the humans until a Kalari rescue ship arrived, Zara told herself. She was staying to observe human behavior for her report. But the truth was simpler. She was fascinated by these creatures who should not exist. She sat in the Iron Horse's small dining room, watching Jake Morrison fix a broken coffee machine. He hummed while he worked, making small, happy sounds. Kalari never hummed. They never made sounds without purpose. "There," Morrison said, closing a panel on the machine. "Try it now." Lisa Park pressed a button. Hot brown liquid poured into a cup. The smell filled the room. "Perfect," she said. "How did you know what was wrong?" "I listened to it," Morrison said. "Machines talk to you if you know how to listen." Zara made a note on her recording device. Humans claimed the machines could talk. This was clearly impossible, but Morrison had fixed the device by listening to sounds that meant nothing to Zara. A loud beeping noise came from the bridge. Morrison's face changed instantly from relaxed to serious. "Emergency signal," he said, running toward the bridge. Zara followed him. The bridge of the Iron Horse was much smaller than a Kalari ship. Everything was built for efficiency, not beauty. But it felt warm somehow, personal. "What is it, Sam?" Morrison asked. Sam Wright, the pilot, pointed to his screen. "Distress call. From the Jupiter system. Big one." Morrison studied the data flowing across the screen. "Show me." The main screen lit up with a star map. Near Jupiter, a red dot was flashing. Numbers scrolled beside it. "It is a Kalari ship," Sam said. "Colony vessel. Looks like they are in serious trouble." Zara moved closer to the screen. Her heart started beating faster when she saw the ship's identification code. "That is the heart of Kalari," she said. "A civilian transport. It carries 50,000 people." 50,000? Morrison asked. "Families," Zara said quietly. "Children, old people. They were moving to a new colony world." Morrison touched the controls, bringing up more information. "Their engines are dead. They are falling toward Jupiter. At this speed ... He did quick calculations in his head. "They have maybe 18 hours before they hit the atmosphere." "Where is the Kalari fleet?" Sam asked. Zara checked her own device. "The nearest military ships are 40 hours away. They will not arrive." In time, the bridge was quiet for a moment. Everyone understood what this meant. 50,000 people were going to die, and no one could help them. What about other human ships? Lisa Park asked. She had joined them on the bridge. Morrison shook his head. The closest human vessel is 60 hours away. And even if they were closer, no human ship is big enough to evacuate 50,000 people. Zara felt something breaking inside her chest. All those people, all those families, they would die while she watched from safety. Wait, Morrison said suddenly. Show me the colony ship's trajectory again. Sam brought up the path the Kalari ship was following as it fell toward Jupiter. Morrison studied it for a long time. His eyes moved back and forth across the screen, like he was reading something Zara could not see. What are you thinking? Lisa asked. Crazy idea, Morrison said. Probably impossible. Tell us, Sam said. Morrison pointed to several spots on the screen. The colony ship is not just falling straight down. It is following a curved path because of Jupiter's gravity. If we could change that path slightly. Change it how? Zara asked. Explosions, Morrison said. Small ones, at exactly the right spots. We could push the ship into a different orbit. One that does not end in Jupiter's atmosphere. Lisa Park stared at him. Jake, that is insane. The calculations alone would take days. And we would need to place explosive charges on a ship that is tumbling through space. Also, Sam added, we do not have explosives powerful enough to move something that big. Morrison was quiet for a moment, thinking. Yes, we do, he said finally. We have mining charges. Hundreds of them. They are designed to break apart asteroids. That could work, Lisa said slowly. But Jake, the timing would have to be perfect. One mistake, and we could crack the colony ship's hull. We would kill everyone we are trying to save. And, Sam added, someone would have to get close enough to place the charges. That ship is tumbling. Its gravity field is all messed up. Flying near it would be suicide. Zara listened to this conversation with growing amazement. The humans were talking about attempting something that was clearly impossible. The mathematics were too complex. The risks were too great. Any logical species would accept that the colony ship was doomed, but the humans were not giving up. Show me the colony ship's tumble pattern, Morrison said. Sam brought up a new display. It showed the heart of Kalari, spinning slowly as it fell toward Jupiter. Morrison watched the pattern for 10 minutes. His eyes tracked the ship's movement. Like he was learning a dance. There, he said suddenly. Every 43 minutes, the ship's main docking bay faces away from Jupiter. For about 90 seconds, the bay is in the shadow of the ship's hull. So? Lisa asked. So that is when we dock. We go inside the ship, place our charges from the inside, and then get out before the next rotation. Jake, Lisa said gently, that gives us 90 seconds to dock with a tumbling ship, get inside, place explosive charges, and get out. It cannot be done. It has to be done, Morrison said simply. Zara stepped forward. Captain Morrison, I must tell you something. The Kalari fleet will not reward you for this. My people, we do not believe in risking advanced species to save primitive ones. Morrison looked at her with those kind brown eyes. Zara, I did not ask what your people would think. I asked what needs to be done. But you could die, Zara said. Your whole crew could die. For people you have never met. Yes, Morrison said. We could. Then why? Morrison was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft but certain. Because they are people. And people do not let other people die when they can help. Tom Brady had joined them on the bridge. Jake, even if we could pull this off, we would need someone who knows the colony ship's layout. Someone who can guide us to the right places to put the charges. Everyone looked at Zara. You want me to come with you, she said. Only if you want to, Morrison said. It is your choice. Zara thought about everything she had learned about humans over the past few days. They were not supposed to exist. They were too kind, too brave, too willing to risk everything for others. According to Kolari science, such creatures could never survive evolution. Being willing to die for strangers should have been eliminated from their genetics millions of years ago. But here they were, and they were asking her to help them attempt the impossible. "I will come," Zara said. Morrison smiled. "Good, Sam. Plot a course for Jupiter. Lisa, start preparing the mining charges. Tom, get the medical bay ready. We are going to need it." "Jake," Sam said quietly, "you know this probably will not work." Morrison nodded. "Probably not, but we have to try." As the Iron Horse changed course toward Jupiter, Zara realized she was about to learn something that would change how she understood the universe. She was about to discover what happened when humans decided something impossible had to be done anyway. And despite everything she knew about mathematics and physics and logical thinking, she found herself believing they might actually succeed. The solar flare hit the stellar dawn like an invisible hammer. Every light on the bridge went out for 3 seconds. When they came back on, half the screens were showing error messages. "Damage report," Captain Vex called out. "Main engines are offline. Navigation is down. Our hiding system is completely broken," the engineering officer said. Her voice stayed calm, but Zara could hear worry underneath. "Life support?" Vex asked. "Working, but barely. We lost 2 of our 3 power generators." Zara looked out the window. The human ship was still there. It had not run away when the alien vessel became visible. Instead, it was moving closer. "Captain," the communications officer said, "the human is talking again." Jake Morrison's voice filled the bridge. "Unknown vessel, your ship just went dark for a few seconds. We saw sparks coming from your hull. Are your people okay?" Zara felt that strange fear again. But this time, it was mixed with something else. Confusion. Why was this human worried about them? According to Kolari studies, humans should be trying to capture their ship or running away in terror. "Do not answer," Vex said. "Captain Morrison is sending another message," the officer said. "Listen, I know you might not trust us," Morrison's voice said, "but that solar flare was bigger than we expected. Our sensors show your ship took a lot of damage. We have extra power cells and repair equipment. If you need help, just say so." The bridge was quiet, except for the soft beeping of damaged systems. "Sir," the engineering officer said, "we need to get back to the fleet for repairs. But our navigation system is broken. We cannot find our way home. Can we fix it?" Vex asked. "Not with the tools we have. We need parts from the main fleet." Zara understood what this meant. They were stranded. The Stellar Dawn was a research ship, not designed for major repairs. Without help, they might drift in space for months before another Kolari ship found them. "The human ship is moving closer," the sensor officer reported. Through the window, Zara could see the Iron Horse clearly now. It was maybe 200 meters away. She could see humans moving around inside through the big windows. They were working at control panels, but they kept looking toward the Kolari ship. "They are not attacking," Zara said quietly. "What?" Vex looked at her. "Look at them." Zara pointed to the window. "They could have weapons pointed at us. They could be calling their military, but they are just watching, waiting." Captain Morrison's voice came again. "Unknown vessel, we are going to move our ship next to yours. Not to threaten you, but to offer assistance. If you want us to leave, just say so." The Iron Horse moved slowly toward them. Its engines were so gentle that Zara could barely see the exhaust. The human captain was being very careful not to seem threatening. "This is wrong," Vex said. "This is not how primitive species behave." "Maybe," Zara said. "We are wrong about what primitive means." The human ship stopped about 50 meters away. Close enough to help, but far enough to escape if needed. Zara thought this showed wisdom. "Captain," the communications officer said, "they are sending detailed scans of our ship. Not weapons scans. Diagnostic scans. They are trying to see what is broken." "Captain Morrison to unknown vessel," came the voice again. "We can see your ship has electrical damage from the solar flare. We have portable power units that might help. We also have a small shuttle that could bring supplies to you. What do you say?" Vex stood silent for a long moment. Zara could see him thinking through all the possibilities, all the rules they were breaking, all the things that could go wrong. "Captain," the engineering officer said, "our remaining power generator is failing. We will lose life support in maybe 6 hours." This changed everything. The rules about contact were important, but staying alive was more important. "Open a channel," Vex said finally. The communications officer touched her controls. "Channel open, sir." Vex spoke slowly and clearly. "Captain Morrison, this is Captain Vex of the vessel Stellar Dawn. We accept your offer of assistance." There was a pause. Then Morrison's voice came back, and Zara could hear something new in it. Excitement? Relief? "Captain Vex, it is good to finally talk with you. We are going to send over a small team with power cells and tools. Is that okay?" "Yes," Vex said. "That is okay." 20 minutes later, Zara stood in the shuttle bay, watching a small human spacecraft dock with their ship. It was even rougher looking than the Iron Horse. Just a metal box with engines and a clear front window. The airlock opened, and 3 humans stepped through. The first was clearly Captain Morrison. He was tall for a human, with dark hair and brown eyes. His clothes were simple work clothes, not a uniform. Behind him came a woman with short red hair and a man with gray hair and kind eyes. "Permission to come aboard?" Morrison asked. "Granted," Vex said. Morrison stepped into the shuttle bay and looked around. Zara watched his face carefully. He did not look afraid or greedy or violent. He looked curious, interested, almost excited. "This is amazing," Morrison said softly. He was looking at the smooth walls and the soft lights. "Your ship is beautiful." Zara had never heard anyone call Kalari design beautiful before. "Efficient, yes. Logical, yes. But beautiful?" "I am Jake Morrison," the human said. "This is Lisa Park, our engineer, and Tom Brady, our medic." Lisa Park stepped forward carrying a metal box. "We brought portable power cells and some basic tools." She said, "If you show us the damage, we might be able to help." "This is very kind," Vex said carefully. "But our technology is quite different from yours." Tom Brady smiled. "Different is not a problem. Broken is broken, no matter what species built it. Electricity is electricity." Zara found herself staring at the humans. They were so much smaller than Kalari. Their skin was pink and brown instead of blue. Their eyes were tiny compared to Kalari eyes, but they moved with confidence. They spoke with kindness. "Would you like to see the damage?" Vex asked. "Lead the way," Morrison said as they walked through the ship. Zara listened to the humans talk. They asked questions about everything. How did the lights work? What made the walls so smooth? How fast could the ship travel? But their questions were not greedy. They were not trying to steal secrets. They were simply curious about how things worked. In the engineering section, Lisa Park looked at the damaged power generator. It was a complex Kalari design that took years of training to understand. Park said after a few minutes. "This is definitely beyond our technology. But the basic problem is simple. You need more power flowing to these connection points here." She pointed to several places on the generator. "Yes," the Kalari engineer said, surprised. "That is exactly right." "We cannot fix your generator," Park said. But we can give you enough power to keep life support running and maybe get your navigation working. For the next 4 hours, Zara watched the humans work alongside the Kalari crew. They did not try to take control. They did not demand to see secret technology. They simply helped. Morrison crawled into small spaces to run power cables. Park figured out how to connect human power cells to Kalari systems. Brady helped injured crew members who had been hurt when the ship shook and slowly. Zara began to understand something that made her very uncomfortable. Everything the Kalari believed about primitive species might be wrong. These humans were not afraid of aliens. They were not violent or greedy. They were helpful, curious, and kind. They worked as hard to save Kalari lives as they would to save human lives. There, Park said finally. Try your navigation now. The Kalari engineer touched her controls. The navigation screen came to life, showing star charts and course calculations. It works, she said. Amazed. Morrison wiped his hands on a cloth. Good. That should get you home safely. Why? Zara asked suddenly. Everyone looked at her. Why? What? Morrison asked. Why did you help us? You do not know us. We could be dangerous. We could be your enemies. Morrison thought about this for a moment. Well, he said, you were in trouble. When someone is in trouble, you help them. That is just what you do. But we are aliens, Zara said. Morrison smiled. So, you are still people, right? You think and feel and worry about things. That makes you people. And people help people. Zara stared at him. In that moment, she realized that everything she thought she knew about intelligence and civilization and what it meant to be advanced was about to change completely. Zara pressed her long fingers against the cool metal wall of the observation deck. Through the clear window, she could see the third planet from the yellow star. Earth. The humans called it Earth. She had been watching this world for 3 weeks. Now, her job was simple. Study the humans. Learn about them. Write a report. Her people, the Kalari, did this with every new species they found. Most times, the report said the same thing. Not ready for contact. Check again in a few hundred years. The humans had just learned to travel faster than light. This made them barely worth looking at. Most species that reached this level were still fighting wars with each other. They were still hurting their own planet. The humans seemed to be doing both. Zara's ship, the Stellar Dawn, hung invisible in space near the red planet Mars. The ship's hiding technology kept them safe from human eyes. Or it was supposed to. Zara, come to the bridge, Captain Vex called. Through the ship's speaker system. His voice sounded worried. Zara walked quickly through the white halls of the ship. The Kalari built everything to be clean and perfect. No wasted space. No unnecessary colors. Everything had a purpose. The bridge was full of blue lights and soft beeping sounds. Captain Vex stood near the main screen. His tall, thin body looked tense. Like all Kalari, his skin was pale blue, and his eyes were large and dark. He had no hair, just smooth skin that caught the light. What is wrong? Zara asked. Look at this. Vex pointed to the screen. Numbers and charts filled the display. The star is acting strange. Solar activity is increasing very fast. Zara studied the data. The yellow star was building up energy. Soon it would release that energy in a massive burst. A solar flare. How long do we have? Maybe 30 minutes before the flare hits us. Solar flares could damage ships. They could break electronic systems. But the Stellar Dawn was built to handle such things. We should be safe enough, Zara said. That is not the problem. Vex touched another control. The screen changed to show space around them. Look, a small ship was moving toward them. It was. Clearly human-made. The design was rough and simple. Metal plates welded together. Big engines that looked too large for the rest of the ship. Human writing covered the side. Zara could read it thanks to her translation device. Iron Horse? They should not be able to see us, Zara said. They cannot. But the solar flare will knock out our hiding system. When that happens, they will. See us clearly. This was bad. Very bad. The Kalari had strict rules about contact with primitive species. If humans saw them, it could change human development in unpredictable ways. It could make them more violent. It could make them scared. It could ruin everything. We need to move away, Zara said. We cannot. The flare will hit us in 28 minutes. Our engines need 30 minutes to warm up properly. Zara felt something she had never experienced before. Fear. Real fear. Not the careful concern that came from logical thinking. This was something deeper. Something that made her heart beat. Faster. What do we do? She asked before Vex could answer. The ship shook. Not from the solar flare. That had not hit yet. This was something else. Captain, one of the bridge crew called out. The human ship is changing course. They are coming directly toward us. Impossible. They cannot see us. Sir, I think they can. The solar radiation is already affecting our systems. Zara moved too. A window. In the distance, she could see the human ship. It was small compared to the stellar dawn, maybe 50 meters long. Its engines glowed orange-red as it moved through space. They are trying to talk to us, the communications officer said. They are sending radio signals. Do not answer, Vex ordered. Sir, the message is repeating. It says ... Unknown vessel. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the mining ship Iron Horse. We can see you are having trouble with your engines. Do you need help? Zara stared at the screen. This was not what was supposed to happen. According to every study the Kalari had done, humans were supposed to react to aliens with fear or violence. They were supposed to try to capture alien ships. They were supposed to think only of themselves, but this human was offering help. Sir, the communications officer said again. They are getting closer, and sir ... The solar flare will hit in 15 minutes. Vex looked at the data streaming across his screens. His face showed the calm that all Kalari learned as children. Never show emotion. Always think logically. Always find the best solution. We have two choices, he said. We can try. To run and probably get caught in the solar flare with damaged engines. Or we can stay and hope our hiding system holds. There is a third choice, Zara said quietly. Everyone on the bridge looked at her. We could answer them. Absolutely not, Vex said. The rules are clear. No contact with primitive species. But what if they really want to help? What if we are? Wrong about humans? The ship shook again, this time harder. Through the window, Zara could see space itself starting to glow. The solar flare was beginning. 10 minutes, someone called out. The human ship was very close now, close enough that Zara could see details. It had big windows in the front. She could see shapes moving inside. Humans, living beings who had just offered to help strangers they had never seen before. Captain Morrison is sending another message, the communications officer said. He says his ship has extra power cells. He wants to know if we need energy for our engines. Zara's mind raced. Everything she had learned about humans said this should not be happening. Humans were supposed to be selfish. They were supposed to be afraid of the unknown. They were supposed to think of aliens as enemies, but this human captain was offering his ship's power to help them. 5 minutes to solar flare impact, came the warning. Our hiding system is failing, another officer reported. They can definitely see us now. Through the window, Zara watched the human ship move even closer. It was now close enough that she could see a person in the front window, a human man with dark hair and kind eyes. He was looking right at their ship. Captain Morrison's voice came through their speakers. The communications officer had finally opened the channel. Unknown vessel. I know you can hear me. That solar flare is going to be big. Real big. Your ship looks advanced, but no ship wants to take a direct hit from something like that. Let us help. Zara looked at Captain Vex. For the first time in her life, she saw doubt in a Kalari's eyes. Captain, she said softly, maybe it is time to learn if we are wrong about humans. The solar flare hit them 30 seconds later, and everything changed.